Welcome to our final project for system design with Nicholas Trocia and Dax Downing. Today we are covering our venue in McArdle. So for our design concept, we want to choose a small-scale concert venue with our type of show being a mostly standard band. This consists of a guitar, bass, vocal, drums, and iwi. We chose McArdle Theater as it's a big enough space to host a small band with a decent-sized audience, though in a more intimate environment, say, compared to the Rosé. For our setup, we decided to have 3 subs, 2 in the front pointing towards the audience with 1 in the back in a cardioid position. We decided to have 4 speakers, a left, center right, and a right. And we figured that a venue like this could be for student bands or any bands who are small enough to be willing. And evident in that is our input list, which is based off of the Prince's Point band with the guitar, bass, drums, and iwi, although we added a vocal mic there to round it out. And with this idea of incorporating student bands into a space like McArdle for a small venue, it could be incorporated into other student projects like Copper Chords, which is a Practicum 2 project of last semester in which student bands were recorded and filmed and as a way to expose them. This could be a similar situation, but with performances. And here's our signal flow, which shows our input rack, main console, amplifiers, and speakers, as well as our microphones, a headphone bus, and our playback computer. As for our equipment list, pretty standard as what's on the signal flow, with a couple of additions, headphones, cables, things like that. And in addition, in our input list, we have cables and other auxiliary equipment. For instance, a headphone amp, as well as a analog to Ethernet Dante converter for that headphone amp. And for our cables, since we weren't measuring the cables, we inserted a standard for what seemed good for each cable given the venue size. 100 for the XLRs and NL4s, 50 for EtherCon, and the rest. And for our budget, we outlined everything with an amount and price, as well as links to each item. In case the price changes, you can look at the link, see what's there, adjust it, and as well, we have our budget with a plus 10% contingency from the total of everything. And in our budget list, we also included spares and extras for our cables. Mostly a lot of spares for the XLRs and the Speak-On. Overall, in terms of the budget, it is a lot more than we expected. For a small venue, $56,000 total, but with a 10% contingency, $61,000.
All right. And moving on to our drafts and drawing. First up, here's our venue of choice. We wanted to have a stage monitor in the middle just so we can mix everything and monitor it correctly, and as well as our instrument placements. And very faintly in the front of the stage, you can see our speakers, 2 pointing towards the left, 2 pointing towards our right, right, center rights. And up on the catwalks, you can see our subs. And just here's another view, just for good reference. Our section and our front elevation. And here's our SPL coverage. We wanted to keep things nice and even, a good even spread, and try to avoid comb filtering when possible. We have a little, but you can't avoid it all the time. And we wanted to keep a nice and even spread of 90 dB with about 5, 10 dB of headroom, somewhere in that range. Speaking of, here are the calculations, just to make extra sure everything is all right. We had calculations for each row. Since the speakers roughly match the distance, we'd only have to do one for each. One calculation for the subs and one calculation for our main array. And I'd say we did a pretty good job of keeping that SPL even and a good headroom. And overall, I just think Nick and I did pretty well in this project. I think overall we have a good venue that could host multiple different small events, and I think it'd be a pretty good success. Looking back, we probably could have planned it a little better, started measuring spaces a little sooner, done some things a little sooner, choosing between just the simple things, getting them out of the way early. But other than that, I think we did a pretty damn good job.